How cool's that? So what's up YouTube, welcome back to the channel once again. You know I appreciate having you here. Stick around for today's video. It's the last one on this, it goes back tomorrow. So I just want to give you some of the things I like and some of the things I dislike about this bike. I've done about 500 miles on it, not as many as I wanted to, but it's been absolutely hacking down with rain for the last probably 5-6 days. But we've got a glorious day today, so we're out today and I'm just going to run through you some of the likes, some of the dislikes. It's as simple as that, and we're going to do it while we ride along in the beautiful sunshine.
Ay, 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 go crazy. Ay,
Thank you very much for sticking around, really appreciate it. Yeah, I've had this bike for a couple of weeks now, and we've done about 400 or 500 miles. I've got to say, it's averaging 86 miles to the gallon, which is not bad. I haven't been pussyfooting around, let's say. I've been riding it how I normally ride. However, this bike does encourage you to cruise rather than blast. And that's one of the things I like about it, the way it makes me feel. But we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's get the negatives out of the way, and then we'll come back to the positives. And here's the weird thing about this bike, what I've found. Some of the negatives are also positives, and some of the positives are almost negatives. Obviously, because they're the same thing. But you will get what I mean when I go through them. Trust me. You don't have to, but I'd advise it. Right, so the negatives, which is a negative for me, is this little dashboard here. It's great when you can see it, but on a day like this, it's very hard to read in the sunshine. Even at its brightest setting, it's not very good. And what it also does is at certain revs, it buzzes a little bit, and it can become quite annoying. It's just got a little, you know, that plastic vibration buzz that you get if you've got a loose screen or something like that. It does that. And over the last week, it's been quite annoying. But that is resolved because you can just stick your finger on it like that and it stops. I don't know whether it comes out on the camera. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but that's annoying. So overall, the screen, I would like to see a rev counter, and I'd like to see it a bit more visually. Basically, that's it. I'd like to see it a bit more. A little bit brighter. Maybe just a little bit more fun with it. It's a little bit boring. So that's a negative. And a negative that is also a positive is that rear luggage, the little bag on the back. I believe it's made by SW Motec. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but looking at the fixtures and fittings on it, I'd say it's SW Motec, so you could probably get bigger bags for it. It's been really handy. I've gone shopping with this bike and done lots of things, and it's been great, and as I said, really handy. But I would like one on the other side. I'd like it a bit more balanced, and obviously you can't do that with the exhaust. So there you go, a little bit of a negative. Another negative, I think it's these tyres. They don't give me a lot of confidence when it's a little bit slimy, which it has been over the past 2 weeks. On days like this, when it's damp under the trees, it's a little bit of surface water, it's a bit in between wet and dry. These tyres don't give me the greatest confidence. However, you can change those, so it's not the end of the world. And this is no disrespect to the tyres, it's just me, I do not get on with them. I didn't on other bikes, and I haven't on this. And as I say, it's not the tyres, it's just one of those things that I don't get on with. It's weird, isn't it? It's not as if I'm a MotoGP rider and I can feel that much difference in my tyres, but yeah, these I would not have on any bike. But other people love them. So what do I know? By the way, these negatives are just picking. They're just niggly little things. They're just nitpicking, basically. Because on most modern bikes, there are not really negatives. There are a lot more positives on modern bikes than negatives. The negatives generally come down to preference and personal taste. I was just throwing that out there. Good fun. Anyway, back to the video. Negatives. Right, foot pegs. These are an aftermarket foot peg. I've got no doubt that the standard ones are smaller than this. And this is a prime example of negatives and positives. Again, I'll come back to the positives in a minute, but for now we're dealing with the negative. Hold on, let me pull over and I'll show you with this. It's much easier. And what you got is when you're, I don't know if you can actually see this, but what you got when you're wheeling the bike back like this, if you've got shorty boots on, your shins hit on these. And it can be so painful when you forget you've got these adventure style pegs on and you're wheeling it backwards. Because they're set where they are, you wheel it back and they hit you in the shins. And it's caught me out a few times, and yeah, it's very, very painful. So that's a negative with these adventure style. Check that out. Wow, I'm blessed today, people. I am blessed today. So where was I? Yeah, it's a little bit of a negative with these aftermarket foot pegs, but if you wear long boots or proper boots and not summer shorties, then they're fine, because they just hit a little bit of padding on the front. So again, nitpicking. Oh, didn't see that sticking out. Another negative for me are these hand guards. Again, negative stroke positive. I would put proper hand guards on these. I don't like the look of them, and it's simply an aesthetic thing. I just really don't like the look of them. They stick out weirdly. Because they've got no connection this end, I just find them a little bit strange. Coming from off-road bikes, I like a full knuckle guard, even though these are basically just designed to keep the wind off. And that brings me on to the front end, this little bit here and the front mud guard. I'm out on that. It's a little bit negative, a little bit positive. I did tell you there's a lots of negative stroke positives on the same things. So don't hate me, but I'm kind of sitting on the fence with this one. This bike has made me sit on the fence more than any other bike I've ridden, I think. So back to that styling, the white mud guard front bit with the blue and the black. It's weird. At first I thought it was weird. I've grown to kind of like it, but at first I thought it was just a little bit weird. It looks like aftermarket bolted on things from another bike, and then you kind of get it. It's supposed to look like that. So do you have to forgive it for that? I don't know. As I said, jury's out, but we'll come back to that in the positives again. I know I'm sending you all around the houses, but that's just the way it's going to go, I'm afraid. You've got to remember this bike's got 3 packs on it: the touring pack, the adventure pack and the style pack. So on the standard model, some of these things might be completely different. I can only judge it on this. What can you do, eh? What can you do? Right, that's enough of the negatives. Let's get on to the positives. Yeah, there's not a lot, is there? You might have guessed, I quite like this bike. So let's roll on with these positives, and let's start with the styling. I like it now. As I said, at first I thought it was a little bit strange, those white bolt-on plastic bits, but I kind of get it. It's what the aim is. They were going for that 70s look where people used to just bolt shit onto their bike. And I'm not saying this is shit, I'm just saying they bolt stuff onto their bike. And they've done that with this. And I quite like it. And I like the fact that it's a blank canvas. So I can stick stickers on it, wrap it, paint it, do what I want with it. Again, sticking with the styling, I love this blue colour. It's a beautiful blue. If I was to buy one, I don't know which one I'd buy. I quite like the idea of the orange, I like the green, I like the black, but this blue in the sunlight on a day like this, it looks really, really nice. So maybe I'd spray the front and that mudguard in this blue colour. And I've seen this bike without that mudguard on at the front, and I think it looks good without it. So the choice is great. You can have it or not, and I think it looks good with either. Again, with the styling, let's go to that exhaust. And it's one of those positive negative things. As I said, with the luggage, it means it blocks that side, so you can't have symmetrical luggage on the back, and it looks a bit weird, and it's very high in the scrambler sense. But this bike as a scrambler is only scrambler in name and image. It will do gentle, gravelly, fire track roads, but nothing more than that. But with that exhaust, I really like the look of it. I don't know why, but I do. It suits this bike. It gives it a certain bit of character, that old school look, and I like it. And I've seen some aftermarket exhausts on the old Tinterweb, and they look pretty good. And as I was saying before, if you put a lighter exhaust on that side, will it then counteract against if you fill the luggage up on the left hand side? Who knows? Someone out there does. Let me know if you've got one of these and you put a lighter exhaust on and you still fill up the left hand side with the luggage. Let me know how the balance is. Plus, if you put the aftermarket exhaust on it, it'll sound a little bit more throaty, a little bit more deep. This isn't the loudest of engine, it's not the most aggressive sounding of engines, it's actually pretty tame, but just a little bit more would be nice. But having said that, a positive is the sound of it is so peaceful and relaxing. It's such a chilled out place to be, because you've got no deep growl aggressiveness from that exhaust. It kind of makes you feel laid back and relaxed. But anyway, we were talking about the style of it, the look of it. It divides people's opinions, I know. Some people love it, some people hate it. But you've still got the CMX500, you've got the CB500F, you've got the CBR500, and you've got the 500X. So you've got plenty of choice. So if you don't like this exhaust, you can go for one of the others. I would have this over a CMX simply because of the height of it. With this seat, I know I'm digressing, but with this seat, it makes it really nice and comfortable for me because I'm a little bit taller. So yeah, that high level exhaust is a plus for me on this bike, but it's also a negative. I told you we're all over the place with this. Right, talking of the negative positive kind of thing, these foot pegs, I hate them when they hit me in the shin because they hurt, but they give so much grip and feedback because they're wider and they stick out further, so you get much more purchase on them with your feet, and they're very grippy as well. When it's raining, it's slimy out, because they've got the serrated edges, it just feels really nice on the foot. You can really dig in with them on the bends. Not into the tarmac, I mean with your foot onto the pegs. Right, let's do another positive negative. Rather than negative positive, we're going to do a positive negative. Let's talk about the suspension. It's soft, it's a little bit spongy, but it's just right for this bike. In the UK, our country roads are pretty rubbish, but this does a nice job of soaking it up. Soaks it up quite nicely. And when I did take it off-road on that gentle track I did the other day, it was nice. It handled it really well because it wasn't too bumpy, too bad, too rutty. It soaked it up nicely. As I said, I wouldn't go more than that. I wouldn't go pure green laning with this, even with the proper tyres on. But if you find yourself on a little fire track, this bike will do it okay. And that suspension's lovely and supple, and it gives a nice little ride. The negative side of that is when you push on, it does get a little bit bouncy, but that's kind of funny as well. So is that a positive? I'm not quite sure, but when it does start bouncing, it does make me laugh a little bit. Okay, I'm a little bit strange, but I think we all knew that. But let's get on to the big massive point of this bike, and it's the engine, how it makes you feel and how it makes you want to ride. And I absolutely adore this engine. I really do. If you've watched my videos before, watched the channel before, you know I've owned two 500Xs, and I really like them. But this engine in this bike, it makes real sense. It really does make good sense. It's nice and smooth. There's not a lot of power. It's not aggressive in its nature. It's got a nice slipper clutch. When you want to have some fun, you can. I mean, you've got to rag the nuts out of it, but you can have fun. It's a little bit vibey, up around 70 to 80, but that's not all bad. That's not what this bike's designed for. It's not a motorway cruiser. But here we're sitting at 60, sixth gear. That's another thing. It's got 6 gears, which is nice. The ratios on the gears are nice. I do like them. Again, it encourages you to ride in a certain manner. I've had a lot of time on this in the wet, And I've got to say, the power delivery is beautiful in the wet. You don't need any of that fancy traction control, all that sort of like gizmo stuff. You could do it quite easily with your throttle hand. It's a nice progressive power delivery. Nothing comes in too strong. I know to some of you that's a bad thing, but remember, this bike's not all about power. It's about having an experience, and that's what this bike does. It encourages you to back off the throttle slightly, lay back, ride smoothly, enjoy these beautiful country lanes we have in England. And it does make you feel good. It makes you feel so chilled. On a sunny afternoon, I really like being out on this bike. And it doesn't encourage me to ride stupid fast. It's a really weird sensation. You get on the bike and you could be angry, pent up. You could have all this anxiety stressing you. This is one of those bikes that just chills you out. Makes you feel good to be alive. Puts a smile on your face. And you just think to yourself, do you know what? Life's not bad, my friend. Life is not bad. Another positive on this bike, and it's on this bike, I don't know what it's like on the standard, but this seat, I really like this seat. At first I thought it was a little bit hard, a little bit tough, but I've got used to it now. My booty has bedded in, and because it's a little bit taller, it gives me a little bit more stretch on the legs to the pegs, and that's nice for me. Another positive, slow speed handling. It's really nice and well balanced. Another positive is its filtering, its commuting capabilities. I've taken this to work a few times, and in the traffic it carves it up nicely. It goes through the middle of the gaps, really nice. It's nice and slim, even with that little pannier on the back. The bars are nice and slim. It's really, really good. There you go, perfect timing. So there you go, soon as I'm lost, let's end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, really appreciate it. That's just some things I like, some things I dislike about the bike. Let me know what you think, drop a comment downstairs in the comment section. But on the whole, I really, really do like this bike. It's done something to me. It's made me so relaxed when I'm riding it. It's made me so chilled out that I like this feeling I get on it. I reach for the keys for this, and talking of keys, they're down there. Is that a positive? Is that a negative? I'll let you decide. But back to the feeling this bike gives me. And it gives me such a nice, relaxed vibe. And I absolutely adore it. I really do. I can forgive the looks. I can forgive all those tiny little negative things for it. Just for the way it makes me feel when I ride it. It makes me feel really happy. It cheers me up. It's not aggressive. It's not an angry bike. It's like a therapy session, and that's the best thing I can say about this bike. I know some people are looking for anger, aggression, and that, I want to be a man shit. Still have fun on this bike. When I said it's chilled out and relaxing, that's up to your mindset. It does encourage you to do that, but when you want to have a little bit of fun, as long as it's dry with these tyres, yeah, cheers me up in that sense too. There's a little bit to it. It's not going to blow your socks off. It's not a super bike, so if you're used to 150, 200 brake horsepower, this is going to be a massive disappointment. But if you want to just go from chill to a little bit of hustle, then this is a fantastic little bike. I really like it. But there you go, let's end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, really appreciate it. Just a little bit of love and a little bit of hates. Nothing more, nothing less. Leave a comment downstairs in the comment section, but don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share, to do all those things that you need to do. Also, hit that notification bell so you guys can get the drop on these videos. I shall see you on the next one. You know, I love you all. Stay safe. Fish out.
Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong. So go ahead, get gone. Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong. So go ahead and get gone.